Hi students, welcome to Easy Elimu Learning Simplified. My name is Mbide, and in today's session we are going to learn about writing essays and specifically argumentative essays. We'll define what an argumentative essay is. We'll also have a look at the structure of an argumentative essay and also the different patterns that you can use when you're writing an argumentative essay. So an argumentative essay is an essay on a subject in which different people hold different opinions. So when you're writing your essay, you're going to first of all make your opinion clear or make it clear where you stand. And then after that, also acknowledge that there's a different opinion, there's a different perspective, but still be clear on your stand. And your goal as a writer should be to persuade readers to see things from your perspective. So you acknowledge another perspective, but you also defend your perspective. So how does the structure of an argumentative essay look like? Just like any other essay, it has an introduction, it has a body, and a conclusion. So the introduction is the part of the essay that ushers us as readers into the essay. So that is the introductory sentence, the introductory paragraph. After that, we now go to the body, which is the central part of the essay. It is the longest part of the essay. It can be as many paragraphs as you wish. And here you write down the points that are in support of the subject or the topic, and those that are not in support, and why. So when you're writing an argumentative essay, there are different patterns in which you can use, and we will look at that a bit later. But the most important thing is that you present the points that you do not support, and then after that, you refute those points by showing their weakness or by saying why you don't support them, and then write down the points that you support. So because of that, depending on whatever pattern that you use, it is important to use some transitional words like on the contrary, in other words, on the other hand, however, just so that there's a flow of paragraphs. And then after that, we have the conclusion. This is the last part of your essay. This is where you wrap up your essay and give a summary of whatever it is that you said in the introduction and the body, and remember to restate your position, restate your stand in the conclusion, but be careful not to introduce new points at this point because we are wrapping up the essay. So there are different ways in which you can organize your essay. There are three different patterns in which you can organize your argumentative essay, and we are going to look at them one by one. The first one is the block or tandem pattern. The second one is the alternating or point by point pattern. And the third one is the balanced paragraph pattern. So let us have a discussion on all these three, and then at the end you can pick which one works for you when it comes to writing an argumentative essay. So the first pattern or the first approach you can use is the block or tandem pattern. And this is where you divide the paragraphs into two blocks. So this is what I mean. When you start writing your essay, you will start with the introduction. You will introduce the subject or the topic, and then state your position, state what you stand for in that topic. And that will be it for the introduction. And then you'll go to the body. When you get to the body, this is where you will divide the paragraphs into blocks, into two blocks. In the first block, you will have an argument that is in support of one position, and its evidence. You'll have a second argument in support of one position and its evidence, a third one, a fourth one, as many as you have. So you start with the ones that are in support, and then you go to the next block where you'll now have the opposing position and its evidence, like that. If there are 4, there are 5, that's how you're going to do it. And then once you're done, you will now conclude. Your last part of this essay will be conclusion. And in the conclusion, you will restate your position. You summarize everything that you have said and then restate your position. But be very careful not to bring a new idea or a new item in the conclusion, because the conclusion is for wrapping up the essay. So that's it for the block pattern. So you start with one side of the argument, if maybe that will take 2 to 3 paragraphs, and then other 2 to 3 paragraphs opposing, and then you will go to the conclusion, restate your position, and wrap up the essay. The second approach, or the second type of pattern you can use, is the alternating pattern, or the point by point. What this means is that each paragraph that you write will contain information that is supporting one position, followed by one that is not supporting. So one paragraph will have the 2 points of view. So you will start just like any essay. You start with the introduction, you introduce your essay, you state your position. And then when you get to the body, the first paragraph in the body, you start by one side of the argument and then another side of the argument in each of the paragraphs until you go to the last paragraph, which is the conclusion, where you will conclude your essay. You wrap up and restate your position. Again, be careful not to bring out a new point at the conclusion. Lastly, we have the balanced paragraph pattern. And this is where, as a writer, you develop an argument in a few sentences, refute it in another few sentences, and present an opposing argument in the remaining sentences. So, for example, you will start your essay with your introduction. This is where you introduce the essay and you give your position or where you stand. Then you will go to the body. In the body, let's say the first paragraph in the body, you present an argument. Let's say you're writing about boarding schools are better than day schools. Let's say that's your topic, that's what you're writing about. You will present an argument. Maybe you have had people who say boarding schools are better, maybe because you have a lot more time to study or you have access to different facilities. You present that point and then you refute it. To refute is to say why you don't agree with it. Maybe you're in support of day schools, right? So you start with the one for boarding schools. You say why you disagree with it, and then now give your point for day school. So you do that in each paragraph until you finish, and then you get to the conclusion and wrap up your essay. Conclude by restating your position, but also remember not to introduce a new point or a new perspective, because this is already the conclusion. So you can use any of the three patterns that we have discussed when you're writing an argumentative essay. You can decide which one works for you best, which one is easier for you, and you can always feel free to use any of those patterns. And here are a few guidelines for writing argumentative essays. These are just general guidelines. The first one is to always read the topic carefully and determine the two sides of the argument, and then decide where do you fall, what side do you want to support. And then after that, write down a brief background of the topic, the central idea, and your point of view. So remember, all this is happening before you start writing your essay. this is just in preparation. You read the topic, understand it, decide where you fall or where you stand, and then write a brief background. After that, list down the main points for your position and for the opposing position, and then make a decision on which pattern you want to use. And lastly, now go into writing the essay. Many times you will find that you use this, you write argumentative essays, especially when you are responding to questions relating to the set books. You may be given a question that requires you to argue out your point, and an argumentative essay may be the best, especially for set books. So that's it for argumentative essays. I hope you have understood and you're now able to write an argumentative essay. I also hope you have understood the 3 different types of patterns, and you will find one that is suitable for you that you'll be using when you need to write an argumentative essay. For further practice, you can have a look at the quiz. Write an argumentative essay on the following topic: men and women should equally share domestic chores. So use any of the patterns that we have discussed. Feel free to use any of the 3 and write down your argumentative essay. Thank you for tuning in, and see you in the next session.